Well, hello, good afternoon. It must be Thursday because the Dragon Lady's coming on live. So here we are in For the Love of Dragons. Hello to everybody. My name is Araya Anra, also known as the Dragon Lady, and I'm a psychic medium, energy healer, life coach, and dragon guide, essentially. I'm really here to help people connect with their dragons, their dragon guides, themselves as a dragon. Hi Lee, good to see you. And if I can help you in any way with that, that's my goal. That's what I'm here to do. I do that in a lot of different ways. I do dragon readings. I do one-on-one full sessions that not only give you information about that connection, but help you move through some of what's holding you back in your expansion. And I do 12-week programs with that. I do book clubs with the Dragon Within. I have a 4-month Eye of the Dragon program, which is the first half of the 9-month Way of the Dragon Heart program. So all kinds of ways to get involved with the dragons, to learn how to call them in, how to connect to them, how to receive their benefits and the love that they have to give. That's really what it's all about, is helping us receive more love, expand into it, and remember the love that's the greater aspect of ourselves. So I'm coming on again today, as I do every week, live, because we had some more questions that were really good ones emailed to me. And I'm going to take an opportunity every week to go through a few of these because they are obviously pressing for some people, and will give answers to all the others that maybe didn't think to ask the question. So these are always fun. Some of these are sort of fun. They're a little on the practical side. So we'll have to talk about that and how that works in the spirit realms or the etheric other dimensional spaces. So I have these fun questions here about dragons. How do they sleep? Do they lay down or stand or curl up? And how often do they sleep? Along those same lines is, what do dragons generally eat? Or do different tribes, families have a different diet? So on all these real practicalities, these would be more questions related to a third dimensional aspect of the need for food, the need for sleep, to actually have a diet that's outside of an energetic. And my answer to all of them, back in the times on the planet, obviously they were meat eaters, at least in this realm, on this planet, but in the higher dimensional spaces, even us, if you are, say you're first and foremost human and you are experiencing things in the spirit realms here, when you enter your energy body through the dimensional space on the other side, when you make your transition out of the physical, and you're experiencing the angelic realms or the spirit realms here on earth, you don't need sleep or food or clothing or things in the same way, because you don't have a physical body that needs that sustenance. So, it's something that we can't really wrap our head around. We don't necessarily have the experience. We do have memories about it, but it's not where we focus our intention to remember that stuff. So just take this as food for thought of, wow, what was it like when I was out of body? Typically, the body does not actually need any sleep, and there are lots of schools of thought about even our physical body here in human form that we actually don't technically need sleep or that recharge or food that you could live if you were in such a state of frequency and love and didn't have all these other densities pulling you down without those things. So breatharians, I know, are one school of thought that are all about living and receiving all that you need sustenance-wise energetically from the air that you breathe, and a practice and how you do that. I've not mastered it. I love food. I love one of the aspects of being in 3D is that I get to eat. And you know what? Cookies, ice cream, I know sugar's not good for me. I try cutting it out, but at some points I do enjoy it, because you know what? That's one of the things you can enjoy about being human and being here. And you don't get ice cream in the spirit realms. All the experience there is very different. So I would say that they don't have a specific diet, because everything is energetics. I have read experiences and channelings of experiences in the spirit realm where thirst, or an unquenchable thirst, is actually an attribute or an experience of the soul. And that's more of a thirst for a release, where it's you get the sensation of that. If you had a physical mouth in your spirit body, to feel parched, but it's more of that unquenchable thirst where you're just longing to expand into something different. And none of us will actually know until we cross over or have full memory and bring our light body in and connect to that. But this aspect of What do they eat? What do dragons eat? Do they sleep? How do they sleep? Do different groups of dragons eat different things? I'd say that because they're all multidimensional beings and we can see them and they represent to us in specific color or shape and form that we can relate to, that our experience of them when we actually get into higher dimensional spaces with them is going to be very different. And in my experience, knowing or knowledge, they don't actually need to eat in those dimensional spaces. No beings do. That you are purely an energetic being. There is, because it's not a time-space continuum like this, that the passing of existence does work in a different way. I still sort of understand and believe there's some level of continuum of movement forward with, with, I don't want to use the word evolution because that mixes it with science, but putting us into not a timeline like we have here on Earth, but something that is continually moving forward and expanding forward. So there would be, the early realms that were created and then realms that were created later or after, rather than this idea of simultaneous, as we have talked about here with the time-space continuum, and that, well, did I have a past life, or is it actually happening simultaneously in just a different insertion point in the time-space continuum? So those things operating really differently and to a level outside of what this little human mind can actually grasp yet. I do get some information through where I get inklings of that, where I get a gist or a sense, but can I put my head around it yet? Not really. Probably just need to keep growing towards that, and I'll understand it when I need to. But no, to answer that question, there's actually not a need for beings in those higher dimensional realms to eat or sleep in any specific way. And the question brought up a different point. Do different tribes, families have a different diet? Not so much about diet, but there are different tribes and families, and so their representation and their coloring and all that would manifest differently. So hopefully that answered those questions. I know it's one of those like, oh, well, I was looking for more. But it's because our physical brain wants to relate it to something that is akin to what we're experiencing. That if I need to eat and sleep and recharge my batteries, then somebody else might need, that these beings might need to as well. Hello, Deborah. Good to see you all the way from Australia. And there's another question I want to tackle here, just take a few minutes on, because a lot of you are going to probably have been struggling with this. Is there a mantra for your dragon self? And if so, would it help to connect with your inner dragon to know the mantra? So as there are mantras for all the dragons, like when I wrote with the book, those mantras are a way to call them, a way to reach out to them. They're like a signature. So if you imagine that you actually, as a soul being, you're known as a name here on Earth. You might have connected to your soul's name through meditation, or had something come where you felt that it represented your energy more. Because we don't actually also speak with the same kind of mouth and tongue structure that we have here in physical, right? Everything is telepathic or passed energetically in the other dimensional spaces. So those mantras, or how we recognize certain dragons or beings, they're an energetic signature. So the answer is yes, you do have a mantra that is your self signature, that is your own mantra to connect with, and knowing that mantra definitely helps you connect to that part of yourself. So I'll just share my story with connecting to a part of me. When my dragon's name came through, Tana, and when another aspect of my soul that experiences a lot in different realms in the universe, which is Araya. It was not my birth name. I'll fess up to that. Araya is not my birth name, but it's been my legal name since about 2006. Because when it came through and I was given that by my guides, my first question or insight was, wow, that's beautiful. What is that? And the response was, that is what you're known as everywhere else in the universe. Okay, so that leads to a whole bunch of questions. So, wow, I'm known everywhere else in the universe, or that I'm in other places in the universe where I could be known, and that this is how they recognize me, or that that's part of my signature. And then when the aspect of Tana came through, which is my dragon self, and merging with her and having that deeper experience of a much deeper resonance within me that feels more ancient feels on a different frequency. Hi, Cisa, good to see you. When I go in and feel that and have someone call me that, it wakes that up within me. So yes, it definitely helps to connect with your own mantra or soul signature name, sound, sets of syllables that run together that represent that energetic. I will say that the first time that someone external to myself or my internal guides in my inner experience called me Araya, it washed over me like a warm blanket, like I was home. And I went, whoa, there's some truth to what they told me. Like, wow, this really resonates more truly with me. And in using that and switching my name and having people call me that, it helped wake me up to me. It put me on that road and that trajectory to becoming who I truly am and really connecting to the higher aspect of myself and forgetting all of the little worldly perceptions of who I had been raised to be, or who I was supposed to be, or who I thought I was, to really unfolding into the truth of me based on that sound signature. It really washed over me like a warm blanket. Hi, Christina, good to see you. After that experience, 2 years later, when I connected to, actually a year and a half later, when I connected to the energy of Tana as my deeper dragon self and felt that come through, it had such a resonance of power with it that I wasn't ready to accept it yet. I wasn't able to move into that. And I actually heard the sound come through as Tanaya instead of Tana. Or actually, I heard Tana, but when I announced it to the group I was working with, it came out as Tanaya because I wasn't ready to own that power. And there's a whole bunch of discussion we could have on that, right? About owning your power as a dragon, what that means and why we're terrified of it. So when I realized later that Tana and Araya, Tanaya is actually the midway point between those two, that I was moving towards it but wasn't ready to embrace it. And so there are certain people in my life that call me Tana. That is my dragon self aspect, and it just brings up within me when it hits my field, it wakes up in me a deeper aspect of this massive power and this massive being that is part of my dragon. And it helps me remember those pieces of myself from that ancient aspect, from that really, really old self, from the dragon realms. And so, yes, when you can get to either your inner guidance or work with syllabic, and this happens in womb work inside. Hi, Cisa, nice to see you. Thank you for that little love heart. I'll expand it out, expanding love. I love that. That's a great way to put that in the quotes or in the parentheses. So when we move towards that signature, having it come in, you can actually work with it when you do some deeper womb work and releasing. I do that in some of my courses and programs, but when you go in and get that first sound, being able to first sound it to yourself and acknowledge it, and then announcing it in front of a group of people, and or starting to have your friends and family use it, is a very powerful way to start connecting to the truth of who you be. So definitely, yes, if you get a mantra with your own signature that feels attached to it, that you know that that's somehow connected to you, even if you don't have it quite right, start using it, start playing with it, because it's going to lead you down a road of discovery of deeper parts, and then it might shift or adjust or show you the real part that you're ready to receive. And that's definitely a powerful, beautiful part of working with the dragons. It is the same is true when you work with your guides and other dragons. That's why they're in the book, the mantras. It's a way to call them in and interact with them, because it connects you to the frequency that they are on. It connects you to their signature and brings them forth because they feel that call. They come when they're called in service. They feel that pull, and then they can release and share with you because you've stepped into their energy signature dynamic. So definitely play with mantras. They are powerful, and I encourage it. And if you have questions, I'm going through these lists each week, so please feel free to send them in or post them in the group. I always love to see them and answer them, because I know that the person that wrote that's not the only person that's wondering that. And that's why we do this group share and have things. And if you've been having dragon experiences, there's been a lot of energy going on recently. There's more activity in the skies again. And just start posting it, sharing it. If you're seeing dragons in the sky, if you're experiencing them in your meditations or around your home or having things happen, feel free to share it, because that's what this group is for. It's a great sounding board. It's a great space. When you share it and the telling of it not only puts you into space of really anchoring that frequency in your body and remembering it so that you have that knowledge held within yourselves as you repeat the story and tell it and share it. But it brings that dynamic of opening that frequency gate into someone else's experience so that they can draw that experience to themselves and expand in the same way. So do have lots of exciting things coming up. We've got a calendared workshop, a 2-day workshop, Walking with the Dragons in Montreal, Quebec region, May 25th and 26th. If you're interested in that, let me know. I will get you on the list to notify when the details. I've got the location, but we're still working out some catering prices and all that for meals and overnight. So if you're curious, interested, it will be in both French and English. It's going to be bilingual. So let me know. I'll get you on the list to notify because we don't want to run out of space. We do have about 30 places, but I have a feeling it's going to fill up. We also have the Sacred Tibet with the Dragons. Very excited about this journey. This is going to be September 5th to the 18th. Working from Jining, China, all the way down through Zanda, Tibet, for specific regions in each location, doing a 3-day Kora trek around Mount Kailash, which has a very deep sacred connection to the dragons, as does the entire journey between Jining and Zanda. There is so much more connected to dragons in that land, and those that are going to be released, awoken, all kinds of stuff. And many of you have ancient connections to Tibet and have been feeling the call to get there at some point. This might be the point in your journey when it's time, when you can go in a group experience with the dragons, with guidance, and enjoy that. So that's coming, and I'm still working on calendaring some workshops in Europe right now, feeling out that in my schedule for probably June, late June. So look forward to that. If you're wanting to connect one-on-one, my Book Now calendar button is on invokehealing.com or dragonwithin.com. You can find those 20-minute dragon readings, 20-minute discovery calls, and please reach out if I can help you in any way. Have a great day. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye.